but he's got this bone broth protein. And the bone broth protein, it's a powder. Powder plus water equals bone broth, according to his marketing. Not true. Powder tang plus water doesn't even pressed orange juice. Powdered greens plus water don't equal fresh pressed greens. And if your Uncle Harry was cremated and you added water to him, he wouldn't become Uncle Harry again.
Welcome to the Optimum Human Podcast, the show that interviews the world's top experts in fitness, nutrition, mindset, and beyond. Let's get into the show.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Optimum Human Podcast. I'm Brian McKay, he's Claude Petroulis, and we are the Optimum Human Podcast. We are not the Optimum. Well, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, Claude, how the hell are you today, sir?
I'm a podcast, apparently.
Apparently.
I'm doing well. Our guest today is Lance Roll. How are you doing, Lance?
Hey guys, I'm doing great. I am doing. We're having a lovely rainy day here in Vista, California, on this beautiful January 11th, 2017.
You know what? It's like what, you guys get like 3 days of rain over there?
Yeah, we're having a really nice weather pattern right now with tons of rain coming into Southern California as well as Northern California. So we're excited. Maybe we'll get a year of drought relief. So
that would be good.
Yeah.
As they say, everything works in cycles. If you're going to have a drought, eventually it's going to rain like hell.
Absolutely. Yeah. We just got to get the scientists to believe that.
Fair enough.
Because I don't think there's any Canadians talking about global warming usually.
You know what? I don't even know what's going on up here with the weather. It's just it's not fun. But anyway, Lance, we know you as the flavor chef. So do you want to give our listeners a bit of background on who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. I am the Chef Lance Roll. We like to do the title thing because I earned it. I'm a certified executive chef, actually, with the ACF, and that's been a while since I've renewed, but I got that certification back in 2004. But I was talking to Brian a little before the podcast here about the significance of today, and really this is it does have a lot to do with who I am right now, and I'm 1/11 of 2007. It was my last day as a chef instructor at the Culinary Institute in San Diego here. And that evening, I had gone through divorce 2006 prior to that. And but that was the culmination of about 18 years of history. And how it relates to the Optimum Human Podcast was it's all about choices. And I had been really, with that divorce and the bitterness of divorce, and basically the entire existence I had existed in anger and bitterness. And I made a choice that night to do a couple things. One was I was never going to go work for anyone again. I was going to start my own business. And two, I was going to give up bitterness. And I successfully did that. And by doing that, it opened up my mind and heart to what was going to unfold over the next 10 years that brings us to today. But just for the audience, we'll rewind a little bit. I just wanted to get that out there because people in the beginning of the podcast might be listening. And if people make that choice, recently I've just talked to a bunch of different philosophers and friends. We talk spiritual language and stuff. And, we are basically just a continuum of moments that are strung together. When we look back, we can look back at all the moments in our lives, and we have decisions at each of those moments to make, choices to make, and we can make positive choices or negative choices, and we can make choices that are good for us and choices that are bad for us. And when we make those big decisions in life, you can imagine 10 years ago, here I was, and I was literally, guys, I'll tell your audience, it was so bad that during 2006, and this is just when I had met Paul Chek, but during 2006, struggling with this, I was literally having to pull over, driving. I'd pull over to the side of the road and dry heave because I was so angry and there was so much stuck inside me, and that would be the only relief that I could get. and it was debilitating. So the divorce had debilitated my life, and now it's continuing to debilitate my life until I made that choice to say, you know what, I'm not going to let this debilitate my life anymore. I'm going to go figure this out. I'm going to establish my life again. I'm going to get back to where I was, and I'm going to move forward. And rather than continually letting the past just determine my future in a sense. And as my Grateful Dead friends like to say, playing in the band, just I can tell your future. Just look what's in your hand. So we all have podcast mics in our hand right now. So we're going to be podcasting into the future, and we all possess the ability to create our futures. And we only exist but in that moment. So we're creating a beautiful moment right now for people listening, and hopefully they're going to gain some insight into their own life and their own existence. And I believe everything happens because those people charming in need to hear this message. So a little bit more about my background as well. I'll go briefly through my chefing background because I've been a chef for 29 years. And that was the passion and the gift that God had given me to be a chef and to understand food, how flavors work, cooking. It's an art form, so we love art, and many artists find it in music, dance, poetry, writing, drawing, painting, physical fitness. Whatever you're doing in the arts, and my art is to cook and to create things that taste delicious, and that's where I became known as the Flavor Chef.
And we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Love good taste in food.
Yeah, and again, this year I hope to teach many people how to make delicious food. It's one of my desires for 2017. But so up until about 2006, I had been a career chef. 2004 to 2006, I was teaching culinary at the Institute in San Diego. And during 2006, I met Paul Chek at the Chek Institute, and that was through one of my culinary students. And I began catering for him and learning. I was recovering from a lot of different things at that point, including the divorce. And Paul was leading in the way of love and just teaching me about love again and what love means in our lives, and how we can transform our lives by transforming. And also it transformed my cooking, because I'd been cooking, basically traditional food and classically trained. But most importantly, I learned about organic food, where our food is sourced, how our food works in our body, and why that's such an important connection to who we are as people. Absolutely. So 2006, like I said, was going through this transformation. On this day, I made this decision. I went through about 9. I've been with Paul for about over half a year, and he was the Chek Institute was the backbone of my Flavor Chef catering business at that point. Like I said, I moved into my own business and started the Flavor Chef, and learned how to become an entrepreneur. And so I was working for him, and that year, through his teaching and just through my own transformations, I was able to, on 11/11, we were talking about numbers earlier, and today is 1/11. On 11/11/07, November 11, 2007, I got a vision from God to bring bone broth to the market. Literally the bone broth I have right now, this delicious traditional healing food that I was learning about through the Weston A. Price Foundation and the work of Sally Fallon and Nourishing Traditions. And Paul Chek at the Chek Institute, organic food, and the healing powers of bone broth. And so I really literally was at Cardiff Market. It was sometime in the morning. I like to tell people it's probably 11:11 in the morning, but I don't remember the exact time. I do have the exact document, though, I wrote that evening, and a Word doc called Stock, and my vision. So literally it is what it is today, which is pretty amazing and pretty powerful, people to pay attention to that intuitive side of their existence, because the spirit universal, again, many people listening might have different spiritual backgrounds, but everyone knows that still small voice, and it could be called intuition, it could be called God, it could be called spirit, but either way, it's important to listen is the most important thing. And so I did. and I started my trek to bring bone broth to the market. I took out a couple URLs that year. I took out bonebroth.com. I went to the USPTO, and that's the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and I applied for 3 trademarks: the Flavor Chef, Love is the Ultimate Spice, and Broth is Good for You, promotes a healthier you. That was in 2008, and I also took the URL bonebroth.com. So that started it all, and I was finally able to bring bone broth to the market in 2011. Through a California license that allowed me to sell in retail stores. And then in 2013, I launched thebrothery.com, which is another one of our trademarks, a place where broth is made called the Brothery, and brought it to the internet market. So that's a little quick synopsis.
Now, Lance, does anyone have a competitor or anything? So you've got the Brothery. So does anyone have the brothel? That would be pretty.
Yeah, that all came funny. Yeah, I'm sure somebody does have a brothel. So you can find many on the internet if you're looking for them, and possibly in your town as well, because there's usually one in every town. But and I don't know if we have any in Vista because I haven't looked for them. But the truth is there's lots of bone broth companies now. Not lots. There's a handful of decent ones. Some are not so good. But the inspiration of the Brothery came from Sally Fallon's work known as Broth is Beautiful, an article she wrote back in 2001, 2002 for the Weston A. Price Foundation and their magazine Wise Traditions. And in that article, she stated one of the desires was there should be a brothel located in every town, a place where people could go get their bone broth, food, let's call it what it is, food, and drink this simmered liquid that is made traditionally, and use it for healing in their bodies. So the Brothery, that's a trademark now, so there won't be any Brotheries open up unless I open them up. And of course, I own Broth is Good for You, promotes a healthier you with the smiley face. So that's some fun background there on that, and still making that product. So
do you want to get into the smiley face a little bit, Lance?
Yeah, absolutely. So the smiley,
how could you not want to get into the smiley face?
Well, we could spend a whole podcast on Love is the Ultimate Spice as well, because love is the power that powers the universe. And like I said, I'm a Czech trained HLC1 as well, and I've been mentored by Paul Czech for years. And you look into any of his work, and you'll see that love is the background and the key to everything, and the power that powers the universe. But broth is good. Yeah,
I hate to cut you off there, Lance, but I was kind of curious. What is your definition of love? We use this word love, and I very rarely hear an actual definition of what it is.
What is love? Wow, that's a tough one. I mean,
you don't hurt me.
I like to say that love is God. Love is God is love. There's a Bible verse about that, but I used to the Bible verse says God is love, and Paul Czech told me love is God. And so how do you define love? I search Wikipedia.
Fair enough.
I think it would be universally it's love is it an entity? Is it energy that again, you'd be talking mostly about characteristics of love, things that represent love, things that represent truth, honesty, integrity, beauty, power. All these words would be descriptions or characteristics of something that contains love. But what is love itself? Wow, we'll have to do another podcast on that one.
Yeah,
again, I think it would be an intuitive knowing, would be part of it. When you're in love, you love your kitty cat. I mean, I cuddle with my kitty cat every morning, and I feel the love not only to my kitty but from my kitty. I know when I step into the spirit and meditate, and I focus my mind and concentration on things greater than I am, the outside spiritual world, that I feel the presence of being part of the oneness of God and the oneness of everything, and that sort of communicates love to me. Just a distinct confidence in my day-to-day livelihood and the way I exist, knowing that I exist. My essence is love. My soul. So, I mean, there's
I
a
like
lot.
what you said before. I like how you called it like an energy, because definitely makes sense. It powers things, drives things.
It's the power that powers the universe, is what I like to say. And and lately I've just love wins. I mean, there's all this destructive, let's just call it what it is, news or fake news. We don't even know what it is anymore. But when we pay too much attention to it, we tend to get depressed and anxious. And when we read the scriptural books, when we read the truth, when we read any philosophy, one common truth is this thing called love, or and at the end of the day, love wins. I don't know how else to describe it. It's an organizational structure that can't be, it's like they could steal everything. What does it gain the world? What is it? The Bible says something to the effect of, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world if he loses his own soul? And that soul, that essence of who we are on the inside, is something no one could ever steal from any of us, any human being anywhere. And that is what continues and lives forever. So in my view, it's an essence that is part of the beginningless beginning. So, yeah, but
I like it.
Back to the smiley face.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Tangent.
I'm smiling just thinking about the smiley face, and it is a particular story. Truthfully, I was my dad, Dr. Alan Roll, a chiropractor, and passed last Christmas a year ago. So God rest his soul, and still in communication. Thankfully, I'm susceptible enough to listen and have his presence with me, which is nice. And he had taught me in 1981. This is, again, I say the date only because this is long before kinesiology was big. He was doing behavioral kinesiology with one of the fathers of kinesiology, Dr. John Diamond, and he showed me a picture of a smiley face, and he put my arm out to muscle test me. He pushed my arm and it held strong. And then he showed me a picture of a sad face, and he did the same pressure on my arm and it went down. He did the same thing with an apple and with a sugar packet as well. And the apple, I was strong, and the sugar packet, my arm went down. And it was the very beginning of muscle testing and meridians and Chinese medicine and all kinds of stuff he was learning in his he was combining shiatsu and other things. But basically, the energy of the smiley face is there. And when you do see the smiley face on my package, you're kind of the sides of your mouth go up and you smile. Or if you even say smile, you look at someone and you smile. And Yogananda, my current Guruji, Paramahansa Yogananda, has a thing called Be a Smile Millionaire. And basically the smile millionaire is one who just smiles at people. And you could literally walk into a room of sad people and smile, and typically most of them will smile at you, and sometimes some of them will be so angry they'll be mad at you, and they'll be like, get out of here, you're too freaking happy, So the smiley face is energetic, and this idea that broth is good for you promotes a healthier you, my actual trademark with the smiley face was given as a lot of people out there right now took our trend, bone broth, and they've done several things to it.
Bastardized it?
They bastardized it in lots of ways, and I've always said, this is probably over 50 podcasts for me, and I've said this on every single one. I've never claimed that bone broth is a miracle anything. Bone broth is food. It's part of a protocol. Generally, people drinking and making bone broth are interested in their health and well-being, and it's a synergizer. Bone broth helps to heal your gut lining. It gives you bioavailable nutrients known as food, molecules known as food, what your body recognizes as the energy that it takes in to keep itself going and sustaining and growing. It contains a lot of collagen, which is what your body is made of. And it's recognized and immediately available to your system. It's sort of pre-digested in a lot of ways because it's been simmered, so you don't have your body doesn't do a lot of work to utilize it. And then when you take things like supplements or drink the right amount of water, eat the right kind of organic food, eliminate poisonous food from your diet, potentially toxins that you might be taking in, add walking, sunshine, these type of things to your balanced existence. The protocol would say, well, if I drink bone broth once or twice a day or once a day, it's going to help synergize all of that. I like to say at bonebroth.com, you are what you eat, Paul Check.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone could say that. But more importantly, you are what you absorb. And bone broth has a big addition to your absorption and your ability to absorb. Literally, this problem we have, there's even a summit or two out there, probably a summit or 100 of them, around the gut and how to heal leaky gut. And one of the main things to heal leaky gut is collagen, and in particular bone broth to help heal that leaky gut. And so that's how bone broth synergizes. It promotes a healthier you. Generally, like I said, if you're drinking bone broth, you're smiling. You got this great food. I have a big cup in my thermos right now. I've been drinking a big thermos every day. And skin, hair, nails, internal systems, amino acid profiles,
tendons, ligaments.
Ligaments, overall feeling good, and it's just a great thing. So a little bit about that too. Anyway, just that's where the smiley face comes in. And then of course the love energy is in the food as well, which has been proven as well to help people. So we like to say love is the ultimate spice, kettle cooked with love, etc. on our packaging.
Yeah, I'm looking at the smiley face on your chef coat right now, and it's bringing a smile to my face. So it works.
It does. It really does work. And it's an energetic thing, man. And I think Albert Einstein said, basically E equals MC squared, and the whole, let's go right to forget science, layman's person. Basically, everything is energy, vibrating at a certain rate. Nothing that you see is solid. Everything is basically energy vibrating at a rate. And I'm not a physicist by any stretch of the imagination, but the point is that energy goes out there. People see that and they tend to feel better right away.
That's very true. Now, Lance, I've got a question for you.
Certainly.
What is the difference between a good bone broth and a great bone broth?
A good bone broth and a great bone broth. That's a great question. A couple things recently. One is a great bone broth, which I'll just say mine is great for several reasons. But great bone broth will be made from organic materials. Organic because several reasons. A, they will not contain any GMOs. So generally you're making bone broth from either chicken or beef. And potentially fish. We're making a fish broth this week, everybody. Super excited about it.
Beautiful.
And we'll be adding fish broth to the menu here pretty soon. And vegetables and water. So the great bone broth, my bone broth contains mineral water, Palomar Mountain spring water to be exact. And again, one of the top 5 waters in the world. The only water Paul Check will drink. And no chances with your health on the water. Boiled down tap water. I just posted on my page about that. It's literally pretty bad. Filtered water, we really don't know what that is. We don't know what kind of filters they're using. It's very clandestine as to what it actually is. Some of the products even just say water. So picture tap water, whatever might be in that tap water, which could be a lot of things. And then
lots of birth control.
Birth controls and lots of
antidepressants.
And don't forget the other side of birth control, the Viagra and everything else. And that stuff doesn't get even caught in filters. So, like I said, I'm getting my water from. So that would be a big difference. And I would say, in a sense, too, Claude, it is great. It is either good, well-made bone broth or not well-made bone broth. And lots of people are making well-made bone broth, in terms of home use. For the home user, ensure organic materials, chicken, beef, grass-fed on the beef, grass-finished, no grain involved there, no natural chicken doesn't mean anything. I'm about to do a blog post on the all-natural burger it was interesting, Carl's Jr. had this bus driving around the neighborhood a couple of months ago, and it said introducing the all-natural burger, which only led to the question, if that's the all-natural burger, what are the other burgers?
Highly artificial burgers.
The unnatural burgers.
The unnatural, what's the difference, And of course, natural chicken in this world, natural is just ridiculous. A couple other things too. There's no substitute for bone broth, at least in my opinion. There's doctors out there. Let's just call him on the carpet on this podcast. Let's say Dr. Axe. And not to bring attention to him, but he's got plenty of attention because he's got plenty of money. But he's got this bone broth protein. And the bone broth protein, it's a powder. Powder plus water equals bone broth, according to his marketing. Not true. Powder tang plus water doesn't even pressed orange juice. Powdered greens plus water don't equal fresh pressed greens. And if your Uncle Harry was cremated and you added water to him, he wouldn't become Uncle Harry again.
That's the best one I've heard yet.
That was an employee of another company in our kitchen that said it's like cremating the bone broth and then trying to rehydrate it. And basically, again, they're claiming all the same stuff. Now let's put it in the most important perspective here. Listen up, audience. For 5,000 years, up until 2014 and maybe even 2015, we have been taught. We were so excited about bone broth. Bone broth, a food simmered with bones of an animal. Again, generally, we're going to say grass-fed, grass-finished, organic or higher, free-range, humanely raised, etc.
Hopefully not Uncle Larry.
Hopefully not Uncle Larry or Uncle Harry.
Or Uncle.
And simmered with vegetables, a good quality water, finished with herbs and spices, simmered for a particular length of time, anywhere from as low as 12. Fish broth is going to be an hour. Vegetable broth about an hour and a half to an hour and a half on both of those. Chicken broth as little as 12, but hopefully ours is a signature 18, and our beef broth at 24 hours or longer. And 24 is enough, sufficient, and also economical. And then you create this liquid, and then you drink it. It's a delicious thing. You hold it in your hands. It smells wonderful. You take it in. Your body says, yummy, this is food. This is delicious. And that's what we were excited about in 2014. So since 2014, you've got collagen supplements, which have been around for a long time, but now all of a sudden their collagen mixed with water becomes bone broth. You got bone broth protein, which is an isolate. And any kind of holistic doesn't include isolation.
No,
Isolates are bad. And now you got these guys saying, we got collagen type 1, type 2, type 3. Just got off the phone the other day with Dr. Kayla Daniel talking about that we have this myriad of collagens in our bone broth. We have electrolytes. We have minerals. We have amino acids. We have an entire complex of things known as bone broth that you're getting and that we were excited about. 5,000 years of history. We've got about 1 year or less of history about these powders, which are made by creating a bone broth and then cooking at a high temperature to reduce it to a syrup and then drying it, blenderizing it, and putting it in a thing. And this bozo, Dr. Axe, has about 8 flavors. So they get banana flavored bone broth.
That sounds horrible.
Strawberry and these crazy things. So, and then you got
a whole nother bone.
You got the collagen supplements again, which again, you got Vital Proteins making an amazing collagen supplement, and collagen peptides that can be added to your bone broth or added to your diet. You've got Great Lakes Gelatin's been around forever, making an organic gelatin supplement. You've got a lot of studies on gelatin, which show that they're really good. What they are not is they are not saying, at least they're not saying, hey, drink this gelatin, it's bone broth. No, it's gelatin. You get gelatin from bone broth, and that's the same gel. You can get gelatin from different things. And part of that gelatin is not actually bone. It's made from the hides of the animal. And I know I talked to the guy at Vital Proteins, and it's a great product, and they make it from the hides of the animals. And again, grass-fed, let's go to their supplement as well. If you're going to have a supplement, guys, grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, certified organic. So we're going through the certification organic right now. Costly, for sure. Third year, they base the cost of your organic certificate on how much you sell. Last year,
Jesus.
we're going to be, it's going to be close to $3,000 for all 3 of our products. So that guy I just mentioned, I'm not going to mention his name anymore, and his partner, I won't even go there. I'm going to try to stay politically correct here. Anyway, his partner, their product is not organic. And the funny thing is they're going to come out, like I read an industry article, they're going to come out with an organic line later. So they're trying to say it's organic, non-GMO, whatever the hell it is. I got to ask Paul Check if GMOs get destroyed in the processing, because the chicken he's using is definitely fed GMO. And the only product he has is chicken. So we don't know if he's even using water. I have no idea what the hell he's doing. But the truth is it's not bone broth.
Now, Chef,
it's
sorry
not.
to cut in. Before you're talking about the high heat processing, doesn't that cause denaturing of the actual nutrients and everything good in it?
Pretty much. I mean, everything, like they're again, so they're making this big jump, Claude, from bone broth, healing bone broth, 5,000 years, less than a year, saying you can get the same benefits, but they don't know.
Yeah.
No one in the book Nourishing Broth, released September 30th, 2014, tested with my broth in it for the mineral contents. Every single testimony until now, even is about bone broth, real food that people eat. JERF, J-E-R-F, let's eat real food and not this other stuff. So yes, the denaturing, very much denatured, as well as glutamate, high glutamate concentration from the high heat processing of these products. Now, again, I need a little cash to go out and actually test their product for glutamates, because they're not mentioning it in their advertisement. People have already testified of the basic brain fog they get from taking their supplement. I'll be on with Dr. Tom O'Brien in the near future regarding glutamate and glutamate toxicity in our society. I mean, it's already out. There's lots of information on it out there, but we produce a low, slow, traditionally simmered bone broth that does not cause any brain fog. So again, that's the big disconnect. And that, the big word you mentioned, denatured. You could denature anything. We got one of the good bone broth companies out there, or they used to be good, telling people to take their bone broth in their convenient plastic, BPA-free plastic, of course, -2, and throwing it in a microwave.
Oh, man.
Oh, what? Like putting a chandelier in a haunted house.
Really? You're going to tell people to take your bone broth and put it in a microwave in the plastic package? It's so convenient because you want to sell more product? Please. I mean, again, I'll go out there right now and say it too. My product is paleo certified. I didn't really need to get paleo certification, and it cost me money as well. Unfortunately, the Paleo Foundation has certified Lono Life bone broth as paleo. Lono Life is a K-cup, guys. K-cup. Remember?
Sounds perfectly natural, man. Sounds like you could get that stuff off trees or in a savanna or, totally.
Yeah, they definitely had those back in Paleolithic era.
Absolutely. They had a Keurig machine right in their cave, dude. And they were pushing it down, and instant bone broth was, in one of their products. And again, they all contain natural flavors. Every good bone broth needs yeast extract. Every good bone broth needs chicory root extract. The chicken product does say chicken broth. Every good bone broth needs, this is all sarcastic, by the way, folks, 580 milligrams of salt per serving, 24%. Why is it 24% salt? Oh, because they want you to taste something. The beef product is made with collagen, beef collagen. None of it's certified or organic. And they all contain natural flavors. What are natural flavors?
I heard that's beaver rectum or something.
Right.
They're excitotoxins, generally speaking, known as monosodium glutamate, or whatever else they're using for their natural flavors.
MSG for people who don't know.
Yeah, again. So, and you unfortunately have the Paleo Foundation saying yes, they're paleo friendly. I got a little upset at them, and I haven't finished my conversation with them to say, "Are you kidding? Natural flavors are not they're they're not friendly to anybody. They're poison. They're literally poison. I mean, you can go out and look up natural flavors. You can eat shit with natural flavors in it, food." And you will probably have a headache. You will have brain fog. You will have muscles. You will have cancer. Everything you can get from natural flavors is in there. Lono Life. Oh, by the way, the Keurig machine itself, I think it's made of plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
then
lots of water gets stuck in there too, and I think something happens when water sits stagnant for a while.
Yeah, it basically goes. Yeah,
Molds.
It's really bad. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. But again, they got a certification, and I guess it's all about money at that point. I mean, if you're going to certify Lono Life as paleo friendly, I'm not going to pay you again to be paleo certified. My product is paleo. It's certified organic, certified paleo, Palomar Mountain spring water. I mean, this is a paleo product, guys. This is made in a traditional manner for healing guts and healing people, and I love it. My mission statement was and is to heal the planet one GI tract at a time, but for 2017 we're changing it to healing the planet 100 GI tracts at a time. One is a little slow,
Fair enough.
Up the ante a bit.
100 even might be a little slow, but the point is we're gonna do it, and that's what we're sticking to. And there's a lot of craziness out there in the bone broth world. We've got everyone. As I really going to write this article, and I'll let you guys alert your audience when it's written. It'll be professionally written by me and Dr. Daniel about this whole subject. But essentially, you got everyone trying to make everything but bone broth, and there's a good reason. Bone broth takes 18 hours to simmer, at a minimum. It takes quality ingredients. It takes care. It's difficult to handle once it comes out of the pot. It needs to be cooled. It takes about 36 hours for us to even get a bone broth ready to go to market, and about 48 hours or longer on the beef product to get it to go in a box ready to be shipped. That's all costly, and we've kept the cost of our product down mostly for the reason that my mission is to heal the planet and to help that process through love, energy, good food, good podcasts to create optimum humans to go back to help people become optimum, and to optimize their lives with this product. So, it's just all part of it. So look forward to that as well. And where else do you want to go, guys?
Well, I actually had a question, and it's veering a little bit away from bone broth, but definitely still staying in the chef realm. If you had, say, this is kind of a theoretical question, but if you had, say, 2 weeks to teach someone everything that they should know within 2 weeks to learn how to cook, what things would you teach them?
Great question. First of all, let's just say that is a beautiful way. You guys just gave me the title of my teaching series this year that we're going to video create: how to learn how to cook in 2 weeks. With Chef Lance Roll, 29 years of history. And I would say, there's a couple of main principles that people need to understand. The first one is what I'm going through right now with the business, and everyone's going through in 2017, is planning. Planning. Maybe it could even go back further beyond that. Like, who are you as a person? What's your type? What are the foods that make you feel good? What are the foods that don't make you feel good? I swore off gluten forever. Thank God. I've sworn off several other things this year that are just, dairy. I used to drink kombucha. I can't drink kombucha. I can't even eat sauerkraut right now. I don't know what's going on, and those are all things that are, quote, good for you. So going back to your question. So planning, which is a term in culinary that we use called mise en place. Mise en place simply means everything in its place. So say, for instance, and a lot of people are doing this. A lot of people aren't doing it because there's still plenty of people eating out and whatnot. But the number one thing would be that, meaning, in other words, so let's say last week on Sunday afternoon, which is what we're going to do in our family, we decided to roast chicken. While the oven was on, we put in potatoes, we put in yams, we put in some roasted vegetables. While that was doing, I had some rice going on the top of the stove. We had some chickpeas cooking, some legumes, some chickpeas cooking in a broth, in a vegetable, making some vegetable broth with that. And so we created about 8 dishes at one time to get us into the week, so we don't have to always be cooking because people's time is of the essence. The second key would be 2 weeks would be good equipment. You want to have one good knife at least that you're comfortable with, or two, a couple good tools. We'll go through those. I have actually video I could share with your audience on some of this as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely put the links to those in the show notes.
And learning how to and then learning the technique. Learning how to roast, learning how to braise, learning how to simmer, learning how to saute, learning how to prep vegetables, going out in your community and understanding where I'm going to get my best food sources from. And then, like everything, education, pick up a great cookbook, Get Nourishing Traditions from the Weston A. Price Foundation, pick up a Culinary Institute book, one of those professional books, cuddle up with a couple good cooking magazines once in a while, and actually, really making it a primary importance. I think the biggest problem in our society, and everyone knows this in our world, is everyone wants things so fast. That's why we went from making bone broth to here's bone broth powder, here's a bone broth supplement, they literally have a bone broth pill. What happened?
Oh man, no.
What happened to just defrost? There's a crock pot way to do things.
Let's just start grinding up bones and eating that. Skip the broth. We'll just eat bones.
It's essentially what in the very early in my bone broth discovery, I was teaching a class to some folks, and one of the gentlemen was a doctor from the Caribbean, and he came up to me and said, "I just want you to know that it's culturally proven that cultures that eat bone live longer, healthier. They have a great fortitude. They have a great constitution. They live really good lives. They live optimum human lives." And he said there were several ways they did that. One way was actually chewing the bones, to a certain degree. But of course, he said the most important way was simmering the bones and extracting the final nutrients from them before returning them again to the earth, to go back into the earth to create whatever they're going to create in the soil. So, this is culturally speaking. But literally chewing on bones, and when we make our bone broth, we literally have a liquid bone elixir. So, but I think I hope I answered your question about the 2 weeks of, if you had 2 weeks to learn how to cook, you might want to invest some money in a program to help you. And then the other thing is, what I'm going to try to do, Brian and Claude, is just break down the fear of doing something wrong in the kitchen. God bless my beautiful wife, Susanna. She's been cooking for 2 years. We used to have a meal delivery. We didn't have to cook. I cooked every Sunday for people in the community called the meal delivery program. And, so we didn't have to cook much at home because I was making our food and taking it home from there. All organic, of course, local, etc. But since then I wasn't doing it, so she started cooking, and I helped her along the way, but she just uses her intuition and she comes up with things, and we'll share a bunch of that stuff in the program, because I think it's important. She wasn't a trained cook, but we have a 6-year-old, and we need to cook for our family. And I think the big disconnect is people not wanting to cook for their family, and understanding the energetic connection between you, your food, preparing your own food, sourcing your own food, securing your own food at a farmer's market, grocery store, having that interaction, and then converting that food to something you can eat. And we have friends, and all they'll eat is this, and we say, who is the parent? Huh. Who is the parent? You are the parent. Your child will eat what you feed them because they have to. And if their child is, quote, picky, it's because you made them picky, because you decided to defer to pizza and chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. And you don't know how many kids are going to be destroyed with this diet. And
how many
Well,
kids,
that's letting the food
how many kids
scientists-
already have?
oh, of course,
Yeah.
there's so many.
I mean,
So many. So we just try to encourage them to look, and then again, I don't know how. And this is millions and millions of, this is a generation of people. We have now a full generation that has completely, they're still, again, I have never been there in so long. I don't even know what it looks like, but the convenience restaurants are out there. Everyone's driving through them, and everything is fast. So we got to reach that small segment of the conscious people and say, look, man, you are going to have to take some time out of your precious life, from your precious whatever you're doing, from the age of distraction, and focus. And literally, it's healing. It's helping heal our family just by spending time together in the kitchen. And of course, my son is not, of course, but everyone. My son's in a Waldorf education, and Rudolf Steiner. And that education, again, it teaches them about preparing. We want the kids preparing foods, no electronics, eating organically, putting their feet in the earth, running around in the mud and rain, and living that life a kid should live. Letting his imagination grow, but part of that is feeding children a good balanced diet. So we find that this is where I think I'm going to have a big impact this year. Impacting, I'm going to set some goals. I had a little vision a couple months ago. Actually, the vision came originally in August last year. And then just through busyness, I wasn't able to bring it to fruition, but it's back on the table for 2017, putting the proper team in place to video it, and then bringing forth like you said, 2 weeks. Let's just bring those 7 principles that people can use to break down the I can't modality to I need to. This is important. This is doctor's bills and health of your family and your children and your community.
And it's also bringing the experience of being able to sit down with your family and having time together that's, hopefully not in front of the TV or phones on, and actually, reconnecting with the family. I think that's definitely a lost art and something that I've been working on with my family. So.
Yeah, it's definitely back to the table. And, if you can as well, it's like we have breakfast and dinner together as a family, and it gives us 2 opportunities to pray as well, to look over our food, to look at each other, to connect with our food, to connect with source, and to understand that there's a greater thing happening right now than even we can imagine, and to be grateful, to have an attitude of gratitude, and to understand that not every kid. I tell my son, not every kid in the world has this, buddy, and we need to pray for those children as well, that they're being fed, and that God Himself, herself, Divine Mother, is literally coming in, healing, and helping to provide for those children. Because they're the same children as us, So.
Yeah, appreciation is huge.
Huge, and I think back to the table, and let's get this done, man. Let's stop talking about it, Lance. Let's help people learn how to cook, connect, and bring it to people that way. Yeah, for sure.
And I think eliminating excuses, because nowadays they say, oh, I don't know, I can't find, the time or whatever. But you can watch a 3-minute YouTube video that teaches you how to make scrambled eggs or whatever, or 30 seconds. Like it's not that tough, but people they hold on to these excuses because it pretty much, it keeps them not liable. It just keeps the burden off of them. It's like, oh, I can't do it. Have you tried? No. Well,
Yeah, and like I said, I know there's millions and millions of people. I'm hoping to reach a bunch of them, and yeah, exactly. Teaching, like, look, this is how you're going to cook an egg for breakfast. This is an easy way to get some protein. My wife this morning, we had a little frittata, we had a couple slices of apple and strawberries. We had it around, and we had a little piece of apples, strawberries, frittata, and I had a cup of bone broth. And the frittata had had beautiful broccoli and feta cheese in there, and protein, carbohydrate, fat, things your cells are made of.
Hell yeah.
Sustainable energy. Your kids are ADD. Yeah, of course they're ADD. All they eat is sugar.
Right.
The sugar craps out. They crap out. There's no more energy. If they're just eating potatoes, starches and more starches, then there's nothing to sustain their body. And teaching them to eat is just a matter of technique. Some people look at it, your son eats everything. Yeah, my son eats everything. He likes liver pate. We love liver pate when I make it.
Beautiful.
And he loves it too. So yeah, it's just one of those things. But there's a bunch of things in there. I hope to get with Source and create this course.
Awesome.
That sounds amazing. I'll look forward to it when it comes out.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's going to take a little while. We want to do a professional. We want to get professional videos done. Nowadays we can't just do. And I may do some Facebook Live with it too. I'm supposed to be with JJ Virgin this year, doing some live cooking in her home. So it should be fun.
Perfect. Well, definitely want to be respectful of your time. Got a few wrap-up questions for you before we end this. Actually, it's not a fiasco today. See, Claude,
Really?
we can do this. We can do this without it being a fiasco. But one of the first questions I have for you is, if you had to, let's say, rescue 3 books from a fire, what books would they be?
3 books from a fire. Let's see. I would probably. The ones coming to my mind are probably How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Chek. Nourishing Traditions for sure.
Okay.
And that's a cookbook. And then probably my commentary by Yogananda on the Gita, on the Bhagavad Gita, from the Self-Realization Fellowship. I've been studying that for 5 years, and that's been incredibly helpful. I could name a few more just in case.
Sure. Why not?
I really had some impact when I read Seven Spiritual Laws by Deepak Chopra. Of success. Those are really fundamental principles of living. That would be one I'm adding to the list.
Beautiful.
And then if I had a few more pocket books, probably like what the hell? Yeah, let's leave it at those 4 for now. I won't. Yeah, I'm sure there's many. I'm sure there's many others we could grab, but those would be pretty. Let's see, Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. So I got movement, brain function, overall living. I got a book to teach me how to cook and sustain, and I got a spiritual book that's going to teach me about who I am and why I'm going to live why I inside me will never die. So
right on.
Beautiful.
Well, with that being said, I think that's a perfect segue into what is your definition, or who comes to mind when you hear the optimum human?
The optimum human. I'm going to have to go with, again, my yogi, Tom Kelly. I think he's Yogi Tom Kelly. He's my Guruji here in the planet. And simply put, he is so filled with love and joy that he doesn't have any ruffled feathers. He's in the spirit. He's literally after God. And he's probably, I don't know, he's just a great human being. Spreads love like incredible.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
And Paul Chek's right next to him too.
Okay.
It was a tough call.
Don't leave Paul out.
No,
I don't leave Paul Chek out of there too. But yeah, the optimum human. That's a great way to bring so many things into people's lives. So I'm glad for you guys to be doing this.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And so who would you like to hear on this podcast, and what would you like to ask them or hear them talk about?
On the podcast, if you haven't had Paul Chek, you should get him for sure.
Yeah, we're working on that slowly. He's a busy man.
Yeah, you just got to get with Vidya on that. Jeez. if you can get Sean on, he's awesome. Sean Croxton.
Yep.
Is amazing.
Definitely big inspiration to both myself and Claude.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. I mean, I know him personally. Any other great health and wellness practitioners out there. I was on Nick Horowski's show, and he does stuff on brain function.
Mm-hmm.
Nick's another Czech practitioner. He's a great guy. He would be great to be on the show.
Yeah, his episode will be coming out before yours. So
already on the show.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
absolutely. He's an awesome
we've
guy.
been on his show too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. You know what I was thinking too. I don't know if the guys. They have Extreme Health Radio is a fun show too. Justin and Kate, they're up in San Clemente here. But yeah, they have some good topics on their show too.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to reach out to them. I'm not familiar, so definitely have to reach out.
Okay, I'll send you some links.
Cool.
Love you guys, man. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right,
thank you.
And love is the ultimate spice.
Where can people find out more about you? I mean, bonebroth.com sounds like a good place to start.
Yeah, that's probably the best place. We're relaunching that as well. Our Facebook page at Bone Broth or The Flavor Chef is a great place. Yeah.
You've been doing anything lately with the YouTube channel?
Yeah, YouTube for sure. YouTube, we're going to be doing more with that in the future. I just did a spot on Fox that was fun about persimmons down here. And
nice.
But I think we'll do some more YouTube stuff this year too. I got a bunch of things on YouTube that, again, historically go back. My Fox segment on Krista Orecchio would be a good one too. Maybe I'll introduce you to Krista.
Oh, that'd be
awesome.
Awesome.
Hopefully some YouTube. The bonebroth.com is mainly about the bone broth. The Facebook page is where you can find us. Instagram, we have an Instagram feed, Twitter. So all the normal places.
Perfect.
Awesome. We'll add that into the show notes.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming on.
Coupon code too. Let's just call it Optimum Human 10. Get when it goes out, 10% coupon code for anyone listening.
Oh, perfect.
Optimum Human 10. Right on.
All lowercase Optimum Human 10, 10% off your order. Let's do it.
Beautiful.
Perfect. Thank you.
I know Brian's going to be using that.
Absolutely.
It won't be active quite yet, but we'll make it active pretty soon.
Absolutely.
Oh, don't worry. This will go out in who knows? Whenever the
6 years.
6 years. 2022. Look out for it.
Awesome.
Lance, thank you for coming on the show. Is there anything else we missed, or you want to quickly talk about, or are we?
No. Let's just go. My signature is love is the ultimate spice. Remember to use it daily to greet everyone with a smile and to know that you are loved.
Beautiful. That's an awesome note to end on. Thank you, Lance.
It is.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, thanks so
All right,
much,
take
Lance.
care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Optimum Human Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to head on over to iTunes and give a 5-star rating and review, which will help spread the word to more awesome listeners just like you. Head on over to theoptimumhuman.com and subscribe to the free newsletter and get the Optimum Human's Blueprint to the Optimum Life. Download it instantly. Thanks for listening.